Hello, Crafty Journaler. Welcome to the Crafty Journaler. My name is Sarah, and this is my channel where I do a lot of fun crafts for junk journaling. I also do a lot of content related to junk journaling, and lately I have been also adding a little segment at the end of my videos that I like to call a little food for thought. And if you are interested in this type of content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification turn on your notification bell, and let a friend know that we're here. That way we could grow this channel together. In today's video, we're going to do a continuation of the Pride Month journals that I am making right now, and I thought it would be fun to bring you guys along to make the next journal, which I kind of think I finally decided to do the blue one. And so we're gonna use the orange one that I made as the basis to the blue one that we're gonna make, or the blue themed one. And according to ChatGPT and Google, the blue stripe in the pride flag means serenity, peace, or harmony. I actually love the meaning of that. I feel like we are all in need of peace, and so this month I hope that we all find peace, harmony, and serenity. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I actually did do some of these things prior, or some of the items that I'm going to be using in this journal. I actually pre-cut and pre-drew out and stuff like that, and then some of them I didn't. So for example, I have the quilted paper, which is the one that I made in, I want to say, about 3 videos ago with you guys, and this is the leftovers of this right here, and this is what I'm going to use for the next journal that I'm doing here. I also have my vanilla folder. Manila, I really don't know, file folder would probably be the best way of calling this. So I have the file folder that I'm going to be upcycling. You could get these just about anywhere. I've seen them at the Dollar Tree. I've seen them at Walmart. I've seen them at anywhere where they like carry any type of school supplies or office supplies. You'll find them. I've also been lucky enough to find these at Goodwill and other thrift stores. And when I do find those, I usually try to pick them up because you get a good chunk for like cents on the dollar kind of thing. Keep your eyes out for those. Then I actually went ahead and kind of pre-drew out the focal point that I'm going to be using at the front. For example, here there's a rainbow with clouds, and then I added some stickers and a sentiment. With this one, I am going to also add some stickers at some point, but to start off, this is going to be the front. So now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to cut this to size, and if I am correct, let me double check. The width that I want is about 5 inches. So I'm going to put this down like this, right here. And I'm going to count 4 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I am going to mark the 5 with a pencil. Right here. And then I believe the height is, let's double check so I am sure, is approximately 7.5. So we'll do about 7.5 in height. So that there is the half. And we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right here. So let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to employ my slicer guillotine here, and I am going to place this down right there, and then I'm going to slice that. Put this aside. We'll probably use it at a later time, and the same goes for here. Okay, so we have our base. Okay, now what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna open this up and lay it flat, or as flat as we can. We're going to turn this around, find the spot that we want it to lay. For example, I think that's right there is what I would like to see in the front and in the back. Also, I mean, you could also just go by whatever indentation it has, and that would be fine too. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that just to help me ease the process. No, I think I'm going to go a little bit. I think I like this more. So we're going to do that. I'm going to fold that there just so I kind of know where I want this to lay about. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to grab my glue that I'm going to be using. And for this part, I do like using the Fabri-Fix glue. And this is a silicone-based glue. It is good to use on just about anything, really. My only recommendation is to always make sure to keep it sealed and take your time with it, because sometimes it takes some time to come out because it is, again, silicone-based. So, and you want to be generous, and you do want to be sort of quick. So you want to be generous, but also I will be sewing this down again, so to the actual material here. So I'm not too worried about how generous. I just want to make sure there's a nice coverage on it. Okay. And so I'm going to fold that there. I'm actually going to move this a little bit higher. There we go. And then I am going to help it lay down with my hand. And then I am going to just use my ruler to lay it a little bit flatter onto the folder. I am going to repeat the process on the opposite side. So I am going to grab this. Place the glue on here. But this time, instead of folding the paper in, I am going to fold this out to the paper. And then the same thing. I'm going to lay that down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off some of this excess on the sides. So with my scissors, I'm just going to go in. Right here, do you see how this lifts because of the seam there? I'm just going to add some glue right there as well. What I like about this glue is that it doesn't bubble. That's why I like using that glue, especially like with paper like this, because usually when it's water-based glue, it will kind of bubble and it looks kind of weird. So that's why I like using this one. Okay, and I usually put these aside just in case I find something fun to do with them. Like a project or whatnot. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fold all of these edges into the folder here. So we're going to grab the glue and we're going to add some glue here. I've also noticed that when you don't use that glue as much, it does have a tendency of kind of gooping up like that too. I don't know if that just happens to me or that happens to others. I'd be interested in knowing if you've worked with that glue. Does that happen to you? Does it kind of like, not that it dries up because it works fine, but it kind of like becomes a little more hard to work with. I actually use my ruler to kind of bend this stuff in, especially because there's like seams that are a little thicker, so they're not as easy to fold over. So I pre-fold it with the ruler and then I just use my hands to finish it off. So now once I have this down, there are parts that bubble up like this, and just because I want to make sure that it stays tacked down very well, I do use some tape and reinforce it before I add the top. Where is it? Here it is. So I do use some painter's tape and so I just find the parts that I want to reinforce and I do that. And then right here, I also want to reinforce that part right there. So I do that. Try to reinforce everything as much as possible because I want this to be a pretty long-lasting notebook or journal. I know journals tend to be, I mean, they're going to get damaged by wear and tear and all that, but I still want to make sure that it lasts enough to enjoy it. So with that being said, this is going to be the cover here. So now I am going to figure out what side I want to be the front, which I really think it's going to be this side. But to be honest, I kind of like this as well. We're going to go with this side. And so now we're going to decorate the front. So I am going to start by putting this down right at the middle, right here. And for this, I am actually going to use some art glitter glue. This is one of those glues that a little goes a long way, so you don't really need to use too much. But you still want to put enough to make sure things stay nicely down. Okay. Like so. We're going to put this down right at the center there, so now that we have that lovely sticker down, glue the pride on here, again using the art glitter glue. Okay, so now we have the pride down. We're gonna add these two cutouts of stars here. We're gonna put one right about here, and then the other one we're gonna put it right down here. Okay, so now we have the cover in the front. So now I am going to add a piece of ribbon to the sides right here so that we have a closure at the end. I am not going to add it all the way through the way I did last time, but, or actually no, I am. I'm gonna add it all the way through. So we'll do right down the middle like this. That should be about enough right there. I am going to use the Fabri-Fix glue to glue this down the center. Here is the middle. I am going to draw a line with my pencil here. There we go. And now we're going to use, again, the art glitter glue right down the center here. Like that. And then I am going to grab the ribbon and hold it as best I can and place it down like so. Okay. So now we're going to measure the width that we're going to cut out. So I think I'm gonna go with 475 or 4 3/4 by 7.5. So that's what we're gonna be cutting out to cover this. And we're gonna be using this lovely paper here. So we're gonna turn it around and we're gonna count or measure out, I guess would probably be the better word. 4 3/4 right there, mark it. And then we're gonna do 4 3/4 again right there, plus 7 8. Wait, was it 7.5? Let's measure that again. Measure twice, always. We're gonna go with between 7.25 and 7.5. So right here, measure that out. Now we're gonna grab the slicer again. We'll place this right here. Right there. And we have that. We have that. And then we slice this one as well. And voila, we have this right here. And we're going to put that right there. Okay. So we're going to cover the inside with these two right here. So you want to cover this with some glue as well to hold it down. Okay, so now we have this one here as well. And then I am going to be using I'm actually going to be using a piece of paper to cover this part as well. Now the paper that I'm going to be using here though, I am going to try to use like a thinner weight paper as opposed to these to cover this part up. And the reason for that is because I am going to be using it as I'm still going to poke holes through here. So I want to be able to do that and not struggle too much doing that. Gonna be using this right here. So just want to mark it right here. Grab my slicer or guillotine. I want to give it a little bit of a jagged look, so I am going to place this right here. And I'm gonna remove that little piece there. And then tear this piece off right here. I am also going to grab a marker, alcohol marker, and then I am going to use it to make the edges a little more prominent, so that they could pop out a little bit. And of course I'm doing this in blue because I want to make sure that it stays in theme. So now that we have that, grab this to put this over it. I am going to grab my glue stick. And then I will be placing this right at the middle as best I can, like so. Okay. So now that we have this on here, I am going to take this to the sewing machine and I am going to sew all the way around here. And I'll probably go on a straight stitch and then like a zigzag or a design one, then a straight stitch again. I just like how that kind of looks. So I'll be right back after I finish that. Okay, so I'm back, and here is what I ended up with. So this is the outside of the journal and this is the inside. I went ahead and sealed up the edges with a lighter of the ribbon, and I also did that on some of the pieces of thread that I had left out. But this is what I ended up with. I absolutely think it's lovely and gorgeous, and I'm really excited to work on the inside of it. I will probably be doing that off camera, like binding it and all that. I'll probably be doing that off camera. Unless you guys tell me that you want me to do it on camera, then I'll do that for you guys. And a little food for thought for today is there is no honor among thieves. I'm not sure if you guys have been watching the news lately, but there is a little bit of a divorce happening. It's very interesting to me how the honor is being lost there. I am here for it though, I must say. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. And remember that you are important, your voice matters, and you are perfect the way you are. With that being said, that's a wrap. Okay, bye.